The quote goes like this.
Trump is the Hitler of our time. Free DC, free Palestine. Trump is the Hitler of our time. Free DC, free Palestine. Trump is the Hitler of our time.
The greatest artist we've ever loved, I don't care if it's music or acting or song or dance, had an element of subversiveness to them. They were shouting against the system. They were subversive. They showed you what they saw. That's what art is. Art is a reflection of what the artist sees. And it's interesting that last night, during the MTV Awards, in a celebration of the art, they were told not to say what they see. Now, Trump waited for a long time. He basically held CBS hostage. He basically said, hey, you know what? I'm going to hold this merger up unless I get something out of it. And that something was a monitor to decide what people got to see. That is the ultimate authoritarianism. That's all it is. I'm going to cover and govern what you see. And a place for art to celebrate. Art, the very thing that is reflective of where we are in society. You can listen to music and find out where society is, what is going on, what we're seeing. Art, by definition, is supposed to make people uncomfortable. That's what it is. That's why we feel it in our soul the way we do. And now we have gone from Mama said knock you out to Trump said don't talk about it. The greatest artist we've ever
loved. Wow. And listen, DL couldn't have been more spot on, and it just pains me to see my old schoolmate dude that I have so much reverence for, LL Cool J, go out like that. But he did. Niel, good morning.
Good morning, Stacey, and peace and love. Let it be known, family. Welcome and come on in. We have a lot of headlines for you today. And a big story coming out. We'll talk about the battle of redistricting that's happening all across this country. We have lots of details for you about that. And then you had DL Hughley talking about the MTV Awards. And one of the stories that is beginning to trend is that there was no acknowledgement of the death of Ananda Lewis. And a lot of people are, in addition to Trump censoring the awards, they're pissed off that Ananda Lewis was not recognized for her contributions to the culture and the evolution of MTV. But thanks to Busta Rhymes, he definitely did acknowledge her in his speech.
Yeah, that's another travesty. And again, while that wasn't written obviously in the script, there's something else that my guy, I mean, you're going to host this thing, you have to be on point. You're going to host an award show or whatever show, you have to be on point. That much I know. And Ananda Lewis had to have been on most people's minds, if not everybody's minds that night. Mm-hmm. And so to not mention her is absolutely insane. It's not like she's ever had any scandal or anything like that. And even so, you gotta acknowledge what she contributed.
I mean, it has happened at award shows in the past.
We know they have omitted people.
They always catch flack for it. It's kind of like one of those things in where you say once you start thanking people, and then I don't want to get in trouble because I know it's somebody I'm gonna forget. And they probably got caught up in all of the artists and stars that had passed away, and they left their most important jewel off the list, and that was Ananda Lewis. She was a big contributor to MTV because she came from BET. And so they knew the value of her contributions to Black America, and to bring her to MTV, they were trying to enhance their Black visibility. And so thanks to Busta Rhymes for doing that. And, you know, we appreciate him for that.
Yeah, that's almost tantamount to if Minneapolis was saying we're gonna pay tribute to our to some of our greatest musicians of all time and leave Prince out. I mean, it's just crazy. And then the other video though, where those folks, Cole Pink, I guess, is the activist who got that close to the president and his cabinet member. They were out, right? To get in his face and call him the Hitler of our time to his face, that's some serious stuff right there. That's some, you know what? That's some bold and I mean bold stuff. Bold stuff.
Yeah, that's you know, telling him come outside and you will FAFO. Okay.
Because he's never
Stay
outside,
in the White
right?
House. You built that patio. Use it before the snow comes. Keep
Oh, Lord.
all of yourself and the Klan on that slab of concrete that you had us taxpayers pay for. Stay there. You're not welcome on the streets of the United States.
You want him to stay on the slab of concrete?
Well, I mean, he should, because every time he comes outside, he's going to be met with resistance unless he's walking into an all MAGA facility or event. Anything outside of that, he is going to get booed. Him and his administration. JD Vance knows, he gets it all the time.
Yeah, yeah, he does. RNG is right. He said some serious white privilege, but Trump was confused. He almost started dancing. I detected that too, RNG. That I felt like at first he thought they were like chanting for him or something, and then when he heard it, it was like, wow.
Look, it ain't nothing
like, get him out of here.
It ain't nothing like an angry white woman. You know, his own kind. And the white women, they were not having it. Those were all white women.
And you know what?
Doing their pink hats, what they do.
She looked kind of like she's kind of Middle Eastern or something, though. That one. But you know what's interesting? What's the one thing that doesn't happen in a dictatorship is that folks don't confront the dictator. And this so I guess what I'm saying is that perhaps there is still a you know, modicum of non-dictatorship here, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, we're calling him a dictator, but we still have our liberties, you know. Let's be clear.
We do?
And yeah, we do. And that's what everybody's fighting for, you know, to maintain those and to not let him. He wants to be a dictator. And a lot of things that he's doing is moving for a dictatorship, but he has not attained that yet. And that's why the white women was meeting him at the restaurant, and they should keep that up. Thank you, Cold Pete, for that.
Yeah, that's what I'm glad you articulated it that way, because that's what I was saying. He hasn't yet. It shows that he has yet to fully attain that. So you're right. And Dr. Joni, I'm with you. Not everyone still has their liberties. Anyway.
Well, Black people we ain't never really had all our liberties. You know what I'm saying? Have we ever? Have we ever?
Oh gosh. Folks, the nation's report card is terrible. It's showing just how far behind our children are falling. Nationally, only 35% of 12th graders are reading at or above the proficient level, but for African American students, it's closer to 15%. In math, just 24% of 12th graders nationwide reach proficiency, yet fewer than 1 in 10 African American students did in 8th grade science, while 31% of students overall scored proficient or above. That drops to barely 12% for Black students. And keep in mind, this assessment took place from January to March of last year, meaning these results really capture the state of learning after years of pandemic disruptions and ongoing debates over education funding. And it's only going to be made worse, and only is made worse with this particular education secretary and this policies that, as you say, the Trump clan has put forward.
Yeah, it really impacts us the most. But as a whole, our nation is so behind when it comes to education. And when you look at what's happening over in China and other countries, they're already teaching kindergartners how to use AI in chat GPT. Okay. And so the advancement level of education in other countries, especially our enemies countries, are like 10 times more advanced than what we are in the United States. So not only, when America catches a cold, we catch pneumonia, we know, but as a whole, our country education system is failing everybody.
It
And it's
really
not
is.
going to get worse. It's only going to
Mhm.
get worse with the head of the Wrestling Federation in charge.
And Dr. Joni, you're absolutely right. The trend began well before the pandemic. Yeah, and when you read if you read the report card, it does take you back to 2019, actually, when we started really seeing some problems. Just before COVID-19. Remember, COVID-19 was actually COVID-20. It would hit us really badly by about February, March of 2020. Good morning, cuz. And RNG says, I blame No Child Left Behind and Common Core. Those two programs set out children behind for decades.
Yeah, we are not competing, on a worldwide scale. We're failing here in America, but on a worldwide scale, 10 to 15 years, but we are so behind when it comes to education in this country.
Hmm.
And so
Well,
that's just something that definitely, we're not going to be able to do anything about it right now,
no.
except parents with all of this technology that we do have, parents may have to self-teach their kids and take it a
Hmm.
step further than just what they're learning in the schoolhouse. Because I'm
Yeah.
telling you, they're learning Mandarin, they're learning Chat GPT
Hmm.
in kindergarten in other countries.
Hmm. Hmm. It's true. And um, the policies in this country, and let's face it, during the Trump years and from in 2016 on, and then now, but even in between, as the Biden Harris administration tried to clean some things up, the policies in this country make it tough for parents to do that. Now, the pandemic actually gave us a glimpse of, like you said, parents needing to be there because everybody was on Zoom or on their laptops or whatever. And I know our children were for sure. And we are fortunate, and not everybody is fortunate to have students who actually love school and schoolwork.
Mhm.
So we,
Mhm.
we we were ahead of the game. But most people, the kids, and I couldn't blame the kids because my attention span is like I can't pay attention. So to try and sit there and do all this work, you know, it's I can't blame those kids for straying. And then you got
You,
all these other tools, Niel, the TikTok and the Instagram, and I would
mhm.
be all over the place if I was a kid today.
Yeah. I know Kim Kardashian recently appeared on Kai Cenat's Mafiathon, and she doesn't believe in homework.
Mm.
She
There's a lot
said
of people
that
like that, though.
she said that you send your kids to school for 8 hours a day. If they should be able to come home and not have to continue that.
Hmm.
That it should be done within those 8 hours. I'd be interested to know what the chat thinks about that. But
Yeah.
yeah, like, do you believe in homework? We're talking about education, having our kids know more, do better. And then we're living in a society where, parents don't believe in homework. They say, get it done. You send your kids to school
Hmm.
for 8 hours a day. That's enough. It's
Well,
enough.
you and do you go home with homework after work?
Yeah.
You're an interesting species. You know that.
Well, I mean, if you are a 9 to 5 worker, then 9 chances out of 10 you don't. If you're a salary worker, it depends on the type of work that you do.
Yeah.
That's really if you clock in and out um at, let's just say, a 40-hour work week or from a factory, there really is nothing to do. But if you're on
Hmm.
salary, and you have demand, the higher the pay, the more required. Put it that way.
Griff says she doesn't believe in homework. She believes in special projects and research.
Mm.
That's it. Yeah, I subscribe to that side too. We got the two doctors chiming in. Dr. Joni says the pandemic um, actually served as a wake up call. She says, I think parents saw how hard it was to teach and what the kids were so horribly behind in. I think many parents were just keeping their eyes closed. And Dr. Marilyn says it's the distractions and lack of reading. Literacy has been replaced with social media. Check out
Mhm.
what the Currys are doing to help Oakland's kids. Yeah, it's a good
Mhm.
point. And Quinn says that is it more of the parent not wanting to help or cheating homework? That's interesting. And David says, David Youngblood, every moment of every day should be about learning and growth, child and adult. All right.
I mean, I mean, and if you think about it, like if you go, I mean, I think history serves a lesson. When you go back to, post-slavery, and during slavery, education was the currency.
Mhm.
Education was the most valuable thing. Education was hip hop. You know how being in hip hop is cool and it sets you apart, or being a part of the culture, so to say. Well, the culture back then was education and how you dressed.
Mhm.
And you had black folks. If you wasn't educated, they wasn't really trying to be bothered with you, because that was just such a valuable currency for us. And we just don't have that anymore. We just don't have it
Yeah.
anymore. I just want to go back. Dr. Marilyn, this is too funny. I've been giggling about this ever since she posted, but she said those minivan moms are I'm sorry. That's just so
No, I
funny to
missed
me.
that. That is
That
hilarious.
is funny.
I missed
Um,
that.
but yeah, education used to be our currency, and now it's just like social media is, which is the most dumbing down aspect
Mhm.
of society right now.
Well, I want to clarify Quinn's comment. He says, "Is it more of the parent not wanting to help or checking homework?" That's the good one. And Dr. Joni speaking, she says she teaches college students that the problem is that without homework, kids didn't learn how to study.
Mm.
So we see each year college kids simply don't know how to take the reins and learn how to study. And then Shonda H brings up a great element to this. Improper nutrition can impact learning. It's hard for a child to focus if they're hungry, and we have a hunger and food crisis in America. 1,000%. Put some exclamation points behind Shonda's comments.
Well, I mean, they've taken away the food programs in our public school system from a federal level, which
Mhm.
puts the burden now on states. And so, yeah, a lot of kids, what we learned through COVID, if you recall, the government still made sure that those programs that provided, breakfast, after school, and lunch, they continued those, because what they realized was that sometimes that's the only time children eat in this
Mhm.
country, is when they go to school.
When they go to school.
And so those meals are very important. And then if you think back to what our forever First Lady Michelle Obama was doing, how she was making the food healthier. It was still fun, but it was healthier. And now all of these things are being taken away from the most vulnerable in this country. And
Mhm.
and so Trump should be glad that nobody threw no tomato soup or gazpacho at him in that restaurant.
Oh,
He should
what?
be gazpacho. So he should be glad that nobody was throwing bread, okay, at him, and that all he got was some chance. Shoot, kids out here hungry, and he in the restaurant eating steak with extra
No,
ketchup.
he with extra. How do you know he had extra? He didn't hold the pickles and nothing like that. I just got to lift up a couple more comments. You are hilarious at times. But Orange says the internet. I agree with this too. Failed our kids. None of them know how to do research. He says Google is a demon when it comes to education. Patricia Jackson says some parents can't help because they have new ways to get the same math answer. That drives me absolutely bananas. What are they going? When I was in school, I used to say the same thing. Okay, this is interesting, but how is that going to help me in life? And the math that they're doing today, which gets you to say, they want you to do it a different way to get the same answer you'd get if you say 2 plus 2 is 4. How is that going to help me in life? I
Maybe
still
that's
don't know.
critical. Maybe that's critical thinking.
Okay, that's what they say.
There's more to one
Uh-oh.
way to get to Louisiana.
And here's the voice of doom. Go ahead.
I want to say that when my kids got to, I think, high school, my youngest kids, they weren't assigning homework. They were special projects. Kids our education system is training our children to be workers, not to be thinkers, right? And most people who have ever homeschooled their kids, they develop their own curriculum, and it's really more about liberal arts and reading. And so if you establish those things early on, you're not going to have a lot of problems with, like, my kids are avid readers. They pick up books, and I don't think that, their friends pick up books. So I think that one of the problems that we have, especially in our community, is that we keep advancing narratives that are just not true in terms of them being thinkers. They're capable of thinking, but a child needs to have an opportunity to rest their freaking brains and get out of this, how the school have them set up, right? Not, and so the reason why a lot of kids who are homeschooled tend to thrive is because they're going to museums, right? And they're having conversation, right? And learning then becomes more a way of life. And so, I don't believe in homework because I believe our educational system is flawed. You all brought up the math thing. So yeah, they keep changing the math. I hated that.
Oh gosh. Whew.
Right. And my kids, and listen, they were well beyond out as far as math than me. So I couldn't, my father, my father was a math guy, and he was, you dumb as an egg. He lost his patience with me, you know what I mean? So I just think, no, I don't agree with homework. I think special projects are good. And if you talk to anybody who's ever and Stacey, you homeschooled your kids, I know that they didn't do the traditional thing. Because you and your wife don't even get down like that.
No, yeah, only during the pandemic, and my son was homeschooled because he just needed to be homeschooled. So back in the day, Jordan gave me some issues, but Jordan was extremely and still is extremely intelligent. My kid, and you mentioned museums, Greer. Like Shanae takes these kids to museums. They all love museums. They go on their own. They love museums.
So, but I think we often reflect on our childhood and things that happened during that time as if it were perfect. It wasn't, right? There were a lot of things. I mean, don't get me wrong. I had to handle my kids when I needed to handle them, but whippings were wrong. You know what I'm saying? We're wrong. So I'm just, that's just I had to jump in there on it. I wanted to clarify why I don't believe. I think education is absolutely important. But I just think that our educational system is broken, as you see this report. And so that means we need to re-envision, what that looks like and what learning is like. Because even if you go back to the age of, the era that Niele was talking about, I mean, most of the stuff that these kids are learning, and even the things that my kids were learning with that, they'll never use that stuff in life, right? Yeah. But you go to a museum or go to some, I don't know, take them out in the world. Those are things that they'll be able to use. And the reason why I get along is because I know a little bit about everything, right? And I think I do. You know what I mean?
It just sounds funny, but it's true. I know it's true, but it just sounds funny. Shonda says, how do you homeschool a child if the parents are working 2 or 3 jobs to keep the family going? That's another issue too. So it's great. It's a great discussion. And everybody's involved. I'm so, we need to keep talking about things like this. But we got to move on because I want to make sure we get to our, what Niele got. I don't even know what Niele got coming for us, but I want to get through the other topics. So, and here's one that really gets under our skin. A billboard in Montgomery, Alabama didn't just cross the line. It erased it. It screams, "It's time to get the clowns out." and splashes that message over grotesque images of people in racist blackface, all wrapped in MAGA branding. This isn't free speech. This isn't harmless provocation. This is the the politics, really, of hate, the same racism that has always tried to degrade and dehumanize Black people in America. Keep in mind, this is 2025, not 1925, and yet the same city where Dr. King marched, where John Lewis bled, is being forced to look at blackface tied to Donald Trump's MAGA movement, a movement that has already promised to erase diversity, equity, and inclusion programs and roll back civil rights protections. So MAGA has done it again, and that the mayor there in Montgomery had asked that billboard be removed, and then there's some free speech groups are saying there's nothing wrong with it, or it's their point of view that you can't do this. This it's just another sign of where things are.
So who are the clowns? I mean, who paid for this billboard?
It was I can't remember the organization, but they are they support, they are MAGA. They've identified themselves as MAGA.
Okay.
So that's they want, in other words, their own words, when approached about it, they simply want to get rid of Black folks. They say the clowns out. They want them out.
Yeah, living in America.
That's the bottom line there. We talked about these all white places popping up, and white only signs coming back, colored only, right, and all of that stuff. So this is Project 2025.
For sure. Yeah. And I mean, I think the you know how the church folks say the best is yet to come. I think the worst is yet to come. As long as Trump stays in office, and all of the heinous things that he is doing, from education to healthcare to changing the Department of Defense to the Department of War, I think the worst is yet to come. And so, we were talking about it yesterday. Folks better wake up, because this is on us.
Yeah. Dr. Joni says, wow, I cannot believe there are blackface MAGA supported advertising campaigns on U.S. roads. It seems to get worse and closer every single week. But, that's not the only billboard that they put up, those MAGA folk. They put up another one. There you go. I was just about to, she's always on point. You see what's happening there. And they're responsible for that as well. So this is what's going on, folks.
Yeah. I just where are the people to the right? Where are those? I see John Lewis. I can't tell who the other individuals are, but
that's Bloody Sunday.
Who do we have? Like, looking at that picture and looking at the civil rights side, who would be standing there right now today?
Right now? Yeah, that's a good question.
Who would be standing there? Would it be Hakeem Jeffries?
No. Right now. I'll tell you no right now.
Would it be Wes Moore? Would it be Brandon Scott? Would it be Brandon Johnson? Would it be Tamika Mallory?
That's what I say.
Angela Rye.
You saw looking at the women today, because they got more
would be there. RG said me.
Yep.
Somebody said Roland Martin. No politicians.
APAC Shakur. That was hilarious. That's probably one of Charlamagne's best lines ever. Folks, Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley is demanding answers from Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell as unemployment for Black women climbed to 6.7%, well above the national average. She says Trump's mass federal layoffs have gutted jobs where Black women make up 12% of the workforce, and his attacks on DE&I have only widened discrimination and wage gaps. Ayanna Pressley is also pressing Powell to address Trump's illegal firing of Lisa Cook, the first Black woman to serve as a Federal Reserve governor and to lay out a plan to ensure maximum employment for all. Now, just an update: Lisa Cook, an appeals judge, said that right now she can keep her job. Now, obviously, the Supreme Court is going to rule against her when it gets there, when Trump takes it there, because they have shown their hand already with that, with the firing of another federal officer who generally had protected status. So once this gets to the Supreme Court, we will likely see Lisa Cook termination there. But this is absolutely ridiculous, because what they are saying, Niele, too, is interesting. I saw a report yesterday. So they're saying Lisa Cook took a mortgage fraud or whatever, right? And which is not. Let's be clear, it's not. But several folks, including Defense Secretary or Army Secretary Hesketh, has the same exact mortgage situation as Lisa Cook and several others in the administration. So let's be clear about that.
Yeah. I mean, once again, thank God for lawmakers like Ayanna Pressley, member of the Congressional Black Caucus, who is still, in the midst of everything that's going on, there still has to be lawmakers that are still doing the business of legislating. And so everybody's like, well, what are they doing? What? Yeah, there still has to be work that needs to be done. And this is an example of that. And I just can't, every time I see the headlines about black jobs, I always go back to last year at the DNC. Was it? Yeah, it was last year, 2024, where Michelle Obama amplified black jobs. And who's going to tell him and this and that. And I just feel like this is him telling her, I'm going to show you what a black job is. There's going to be none. And I mean, I just, that just really bothers me that we were celebrating this time last year, right? Just all of the successes of Black people, being at the DNC, being able to hear from our Black first family, seeing the hope, the possibility of a Black woman as president, seeing the closest thing to what we would want this country to look like in that space. And here we are today.
Yeah, you remember, were you there? No, you wasn't with us, unfortunately. I think Dawn was there. They had this huge, in September of last year, I think it was September, August or September, this huge Black Excellence Party at the White House. And I mean,
I was there.
Oh, you were there? Yes. Okay. And imagine, you can't even begin to imagine something like that today at the White House.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, that was it. That was the last hurrah. It was a Black Excellence brunch brought to you by Trail, who does these Black Excellence brunches during like award season. So like the Grammys, the BET Awards, and he always honors people of Black excellence. And so the communications team reached out to him to plan the Black Excellence brunch at the White House. Monica performed, and everybody was there because it was during the Congressional Black Caucus. So it was the inaugural. It was the inaugural one. We were hoping that there would be more. we were hoping that this time next year we will be going to the second annual Black Excellence brunch. That ain't happening, y'all. But it brought together, like when we first opened up the show, and D.L. Hughley talking about artists. There it is, right? It was such a grand time. When D.L. Hughley was talking about artists that spoke to the times, this brunch right here that you're looking at was a mixture of politicals, of journalists, of actors, of singers, of poets, of entrepreneurs. You might go from Tabitha Brown to Kev on Stage to Monica to Derek Johnson from the NAACP. Dr. Chavis was there. I mean, there's Roland Martin. It was a melting pot of just Black excellence from the tech industry, from the venture capitalist industry. It was a grand time. And it was the possibility of what America could look like.
Yeah, that's where I had a chance to sit down and have a drink with Erica Alexander.
Mhm.
Um, and it was really, really nice. I mean, whoo, the drinks were good too. Boy, I drank at the White House. I drank. Dawn was like, "Fix your camera, boy." Dr. Joni says the federal appeals courts are getting really fed up with SCOTUS because they are not telling us what the law is. They are in the pocket of dark MAGA money. Yeah, if you heard Justice Sotomayor, gosh, her interview with The View, she very quietly, in a very dignified way, sounded the alarm. This stuff is crazy. This stuff is really out of control. She knows it. The courts, the Supreme Courts are going. This Supreme Court, this bought and paid for court, is angering, as somebody also mentioned in the chat, angering the lower court judges because they're not ruling on law. They're not ruling on law at all.
Yeah,
So
I mean, nobody is ruling. Legislators are legislating on law, on business. They're legislating. It is the Trump clan agenda. I mean, that's just what it is. Every part of, especially the federal government. They're in charge. Trump's in charge. He has all three branches, and now the fourth state, which is the press, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's able to tell them what they can and cannot talk about. So it's his agenda. Once again, it comes back up to the people.
Yeah. Nancy Wall says we at least have the picture to show it happened.
and I have the memory.
Yeah, we got video and everything. Yeah,
it was just, the possibility of the path, like all of the strides that were made. And I mean, it talk about having the rug snatched from up under you.
Well, you know what's interesting too, and I think is important to note, that event, it didn't matter what side, or if you didn't have a side you were on. It was just a fun, beautiful event, well done, curated by a Black person. The food, the chef was Black. It was just a really great thing that the Biden-Harris administration did. It was really a fantastic. It was, and it didn't reek of any type of. I didn't feel like it was political at all. It was just, hey, I'm inviting you all. Come out and have a good time.
Well, I mean, it was during the Congressional Black Caucus, so it was
I don't feel it was political. I didn't feel it though. I really didn't feel. I didn't feel political speeches. I didn't. It was music. It was drinks, food. It was have a nice time. That's how I felt, but I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a great event, and the White House, ever since the Obamas came into office, they always.
Yeah, there's my girl. There's my girl.
Oh, there it is, right there. It was always an inclusive space. I think the Obamas opened up that journey of inclusiveness in the White House, because they, Black Music Month. They just made sure that it was the people's house. The White House was truly the people's house, and everybody felt included. Not just Black people, but Asian, Pacific, Latino. Everybody was invited to the White House. That was just our thing because it was during the Congressional Black Caucus. So why not have a Black Excellence brunch? Now, the funny part about it, you guys should know that there were a lot of other. So during the Congressional Black Caucus, there are traditional events like the Collective PAC has a brunch, Higher Heights does something. All of these, organizations do something during CBC. And because this was the first time, it interfered with some of the panels and some of the activities. So it was a lot of people pissed off about this brunch because instead of usually most of these people would be at the other events. But because this happened, we was all at the White House. So that's his little Black story. All Black people weren't happy about this brunch. They're kind of pissed off about it. But, hey, that's
OG says He says actually Jimmy Carter started Black Music Month in June, jazz on the White House lawn. Jimmy Carter was one of a kind.
Mm-hmm.
And thanks, guys. They said that was a wonderful picture, nice picture. Yes, it was. The only thing that made it would have made it nicer if that was Shanae. Anyway, folks, speaking of Black Single and Ready to Mingle, the Black app dropped the top 10 cities for living single and Black, and it really is an interesting countdown. Number 10 was Dallas, big city, big energy, and yes, big dating scene. Philly came in at number 9 with its cheesesteaks culture and Black love on tap. The Motor City, Detroit, revved up with real connections, and then it's Atlanta, always coming through. And then number 6 is Charm City, Baltimore, serving more than seafood. And then Chocolate City, number 5, DC, power, politics, and plenty of love. And then Charlotte, the Queen City, where singles wear the crown. And then New York City came in at number 3. They say if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere, even in love. And then Chicago with the deep dish, lakefront, and deep vibes for Black singles came in number 2. And the number 1 place for Black singles is Neil's gonna love this. It's her girls' town, H-Town, Houston. It takes the crown, nightlife, culture, and community. So where are you finding your Black love story? Drop your city in the comments, folks. Where you finding your Black love, Neil? Los Angeles.
I mean, hey. Where maybe at the Congressional Black Caucus in DC, who knows? But you know,
don't let it be
Hakeem.
Hakeem.
Chocolate City was on the list. So yeah, where are you guys finding your do you agree with the list? First off, do you think that is a true assessment of where love is? I think for Black people though, the higher percentage of Black people in the city is, you know, you have a better odds of finding Black love. Here in California, we make up less than 8% of the population. So, I mean, you know, you have to surf for it. So, I mean, those.
So you got the what?
Surf for it.
That's what I thought you said.
So I guess the higher the percentage of Black people, the better your odds are.
Okay. Well, DC, look out. She put y'all on notice. She on her way. She pulling up.
What Michelle Madison says, my Black love resides in Virginia. Okay.
They say Virginia's for lovers. So
Black men stay away from those places. Black men don't cheat. Well, yeah, nobody wants nobody else's man, Orange G. So Black men that have a significant other stay away from those places. Not Black men, Orange G. Black men with wives and fiancés and girlfriends. But send the Black men to them states that are single and ready to mingle.
Check out the Black America Web for more information on that list, Shonda H. That's where the list originated, Black America Web. But Daniela Pierre says she didn't realize Black love was still a thing. Really?
Wow. Well, yeah, I mean, there are a lot of studies out there to where, yeah, it's a lot going on. It's a lot of intermingling from, you know, gender to race to, I mean, so hey, it's hard out here. And then let's not forget, some of them are in prison. So it's hard out here.
It's hard out here. Well, Dr. Marilyn is in Dallas. She's in Dallas, she said. So I don't know. She got a cowboy out there. She got some cowboys out there.
Yeah, Dallas is that's a good Black city. You know, you probably find a lot of good, you know, Black men in Dallas.
I went to Dallas a couple of years ago, and it was nice. It was real nice.
Yeah, Texas is nice. It's nice. Big HBCU state. You know, anywhere there's states with HBCUs, you're gonna find some Black men and Black women.
And Houston was really cool. It was so hot. I said it was cool, but like it was nice, but it was so hot when we went, and Shanae and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was one of the NNPA's conferences. This is like 6-7 years ago now, but that was a really nice treat. And Dr. Marilyn says, not Atlanta. She's she said that's
Dr. Marilyn.
Dr. Mellon said she ain't going for it. Not
Well,
Atlanta.
it depends on who you are. I heard for men, Atlanta is the place for black love. For men.
You emphasizing that.
But not for women. But for men, for black men, I heard that Atlanta is the place for love and fun.
Anyway.
Okay, so we have some more headlines to get to, and we're going to start off with a new NBC poll shows that the majority of Democrats identify more with the progressive movement than the Democratic Party itself today. Now, 54% said they are more in line with the progressive movement, while 46% said they lean towards supporting the party. Now, the poll was conducted nationwide among more than 30,000 adults. And typically, when a polls, they might only poll 1,000 people, but to poll 30,000 and for most of them to lean on the progressive side, I think that says a lot, and that sends a strong message to the Democratic Party. And, you know, Mandami might be the first of many that we see getting elected across these United States.
That's an amazingly great point. 30,000. I don't like polls where they're only doing a couple hundred or maybe 1,000 because it's not really representative. So that's a great representation right there.
Yeah. And I think a lot of it has to do with like the war in Israel. You know, a lot of Democrats just can't understand how the Democratic Party is just supporting Israel with blindfolds on, and they're not speaking up for the Palestinian people. I think that has a huge part to do with why we're seeing this progressive lean. But in more news, the NAACP is suing Missouri over a special redistricting session, arguing the plan is unconstitutional and threatens to silence Black voters and voices. Now, the legal action filed jointly with Missouri State Conference of the NAACP seeks to block a proposed special legislative session that the group argues violates both state law and constitutional protections. And so we see that the NAACP is on the front line for the legal lawsuits, making sure that this stays in court, because even if they lose, it is on record. And that is how things happen within our legal system, is that it has to be, you know, on the record, it has to be filed. And speaking of redistricting, 5 legal battles over redistricting to watch are in the states of Utah, Mississippi, North Dakota, Louisiana, and Texas as well. And so this redistricting ramp up is truly happening. And as you know, Texas, other states are following. Utah, Mississippi, North Dakota, Louisiana, they're following suit. And so you need things like what's happening in California. And if you haven't heard, Governor Newsom is having a FAFO town hall this afternoon. It starts at 1:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which means that's 4:30 Eastern Standard Time. You can pull up Newsom. You have Rep. Jasmine Crockett, Hakeem Jeffries. It is like maybe a 20-person Mayor Karen Bass. They're all going to be speaking about what's at stake with this redistricting and how California needs your support to make sure that the ballot measure that Newsom signed and will be on the ballot for us to vote for, that it actually passes. There it is. AFL 50.
They're actually, I think that the bottom of that calendar or somewhere I read, they're expecting to be more people to join that list of dignitaries on there. So, or speakers, or however you want to term them. But yeah, that is something else. Again, you know, we've said it. It's going to take a Gavin Newsom type, if not Gavin himself, to defeat this guy, because of the way America is right now. Dr. Joni says it's just awful that Trump calls their governor, and boom, they steal an extra seat for Republicans.
Right. Yeah. This redistricting is going to be important to pay attention to, because it's basically how he's going to stay in office. That's what it's all about. Him staying in office and preparing to rig the next year's election, so that, you know, he's building his fortress, you know, brick by brick. And if we, the people, continue to stay on Facebook and Instagram and not get involved, he's going to accomplish what he's setting out to do for his ancestors. What we going to do for ours, Black people?
I miss what Michelle Madison said. She said, NAACP, do the doggone thing.
It takes a village. It takes a village. And last but not least, something to pay attention to: COVID-19 levels are rising again in the state of California, and masks are being recommended for vulnerable groups and in crowded indoor spaces. So they are asking us to wear our mask again. Now, no bad dates have been issued, but experts warn the trend should not be ignored. Who's going to help us, y'all? Who's going? Because you know Donald Trump is not going to tell us if we're in another pandemic. You know, he's not going to tell us. Because when you said earlier that it didn't hit us till February, I believe COVID actually was hitting us back in October and November. We just didn't know what it was.
We didn't know what it was.
Tons of us had COVID. We just didn't know until the next year what was happening, because then he had no choice.
Yep. He waited till we had no choice. And even then, I mean, remember, this guy said, drink some bleach.
We had to get him up out of there quick, fast, in a hurry. Okay. And so, be careful, masked up, continue to wash your hands, because COVID is not gone, and you never know. Just as COVID came, it could be something else.
Yeah.
So let's just make sure we're keeping our hands sanitized. We always keep a mask with us, and be precautious.
Dr. Nicole says, yet the federal government has outlawed masks. Isn't that something? Well, they run around. They run around with armed, with guns and stuff and badges with masks on. Oh my gosh. Yes, this surge is extremely strong, says Dr. Joni. People in the Midwest also, we aren't getting info from health agents at federal levels. So again, having to look at wastewater levels at state levels, very serious. And of course, you got the clown in chief, supposed to be head of all of the health stuff, Kennedy. So
heaven help us all. Heaven help us all. But those are your remaining headlines for today, folks.
Boy, some Black history, folks. On this date in 1847, John Roy Lynch was born into slavery near Vidalia, Louisiana. Lynch would be among the first group of Blacks to serve in the United States Congress after slavery. He represented the state of Mississippi. Lynch would even serve as temporary chairman of the Republican Party National Convention. But as the period of Reconstruction faded and Southern politics made it virtually impossible for Blacks to remain in political office, Lynch moved to Chicago and practiced law. He died in 1939 at the age of 92. So there's a Black history fact to think about.
And today we remember the marvelous Frankie Beverly, who died 1 year ago today on September 10th. And of course, Frankie Beverly is just the epitome of the only reason why you can wear white after Labor Day.
We were showing that party at the White House. That was after Labor Day. They told us all to wear white. We was all wearing white.
Yeah. Certain things give you a pass, and Frankie Beverly has always been a pass to wear white. And chat, let us know in the chat, what's your favorite Frankie Beverly song? I have too many to count. I don't know if I could pick just one.
Oh man, that
depends on the day and the mood.
I got a few. I can't. Yeah, I got a few myself. So, what are yours? Let's get to that. But we're gonna get to the Black-owned newspaper of the day, which is the Michigan Chronicle. Founded in 1936, the Michigan Chronicle is a news, information, and events company that covers the interests of the African American community. Leaders and readers in metropolitan Detroit look to the Michigan Chronicle to stay informed about issues that impact their lives. As the voice of the community for more than 80 years, the paper it takes great pride in having access to the grassroots community as well as connections and established relationships with influencers and opinion leaders. So Michigan Chronicle, check them out. They're always giving you something good.
Yeah. So my Frankie Beverly song today is I Want to Thank You, because we want to thank you, Let It Be Known family, for chatting it up with us, for watching us, and also for visiting Black Press USA, where you can keep up with the latest in Black news that uplifts, inspires, and informs. So be sure to check out blackpressusa.com.
And real quick, so some Frankie Beverly songs from the chat before I let go. The Black Family Reunion theme song, Southern Girl, Happy Feelings, Golden Time of the Day. Dr. Joni Toole says the morning after.
Yes. Southern Girl. You know what's my favorite to listen to in the evening? Of course, Golden Time of Day. When the sun is setting and that song comes on, baby.
Michelle says, I want to thank you. And Nancy Wall says, I have too many songs. There you go, Dr. Marilyn.
We are one. That's the good for the protesters. You know, when we show up and we come together, we are one. That totally, motivates you. Celebrate Frankie today, y'all.
Celebrate Frankie. And folks, we will see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.